I'm Robert Blaszkiewicz. This is the NWI.com Political Roundtable for Friday, October 22nd. Joined with me today is Times columnist Mark Kiesling and Times editorial page editor Doug Ross. We'll be talking about the political news as we're heading into the home stretch of the midterm election campaign season. Some sad news we had today, the passing of a longtime local leader, Mark.
Yes, Ross Township Trustee John Rooda passed away, and Mr. Rooda's his tenure was marked by a lack of controversy. The only controversial thing that I think Mr. Rooda did was at one point he switched from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party, but his tenure as trustee has been relatively uneventful, and I think that shows the mark of a good leader.
You'll see him on the ballot, by the way.
Pardon me?
You'll see him on the ballot, by the way, but he's unopposed, so that means that the party then will pick his replacement.
The party will pick his replacement. The party will have 31 days to pick a replacement for him. So.
At this time last week, we were talking about the Saturday caucus for the new mayor of East Chicago. We've seen now that Anthony Copeland selected has taken the reins in East Chicago, and we see some interesting developments going on with the movement to try to get an elected school board.
Right, that's interesting. Myrna Maldonado told me Thursday that she is planning to introduce an ordinance on Monday at the council meeting that would go toward the elected school board. That was an ordinance that then Mayor George Pabay knocked down earlier this year. It was one that he had said he would support when he was running for office the first time, and then changed his mind when he realized he had the power to appoint everybody on the school board. So now that's a step toward reform. So Copeland's supportive, Maldonado's going to jump on the bandwagon and strike while she...
Now, it's interesting to note that Maldonado, in addition to being a city councilman, was also elected last week. At the same time Copeland was elected mayor, was elected by a vote of the committeemen to be the chairman of the city Democratic Party. So I think this shows kind of a bonding between Maldonado, who had previously been linked with Bob Pastrick, former Mayor Bob Pastrick, and Copeland, who had been seen as kind of an outsider, neither linked with Pastrick nor Pabay. And the two of them appear to have joined forces. He supported her for chairman, and she supported him for mayor last week. And if successful, this will leave Valparaiso as the only school board in the area that remains appointed by the city council.
We'll see how that goes. It'll be interesting to watch.
Next topic we're going to talk about is the Lake County Assessor's race. Developments have been fast and furious in that, particularly with Carol Ann Seaton and her ongoing troubles, if you will. She actually stopped in, visited with our editorial board, and so we heard kind of her side of things yesterday.
And that was an interesting meeting. You were there as well. Yep. And she was asked point blank about the William Seaton, who has the or had, we're not really sure, is allegedly deceased, who is listed as the owner of that house on where she lives. And so there's the question about, were these property tax breaks, we'll simplify it, were these property tax breaks that were requested with his signature, or with his name at least for the signature, were they legitimate or were they not? The signatures look kind of different.
Yeah, the signatures look markedly different, and there doesn't even appear to have been an attempt to make them look the same, which is kind of strange. But there are tens of thousands of these forms processed every year by the auditor's office, and for them to look at every signature on every document would be humanly impossible. So it's very possible that these could have slipped by undetected.
Right, and she's on the Property Tax Assessment Board of Appeals.
That's right. She's on PWA, yeah.
And she's, seems quite knowledgeable.
Yeah,
about
she
the appeals
was
process.
impressive in her knowledge of property taxes and the issues, and facing our particular region with the industry in Lake County and how taxes work. So she's got the qualifications, but this cloud is kind of hanging over her. She's the Democratic candidate. She's running against Republican Hank Adams, and she really, she kind of, I think, kind of played ignorance on this whole signature issue that she lived there, but she didn't handle those tax issues,
right,
according to her.
Right.
And of course, this is not her first brush with controversy. She was also found to be in possession of driver's licenses from Michigan and Indiana. Michigan has pulled her license. Indiana has suspended her license, pending an investigation as to whether she is actually an Indiana resident or not.
Yeah, and she put a lot of the blame on some of the political powers that be that she thinks don't want her in office, as well as the media. She has said the media has treated her unfairly. So.
She is not she was not the favorite candidate. Ross Township Assessor Randy Guernsey was the picked party candidate. There wasn't actually a slate, but it was no secret that Guernsey was the guy that the powers that be wanted to see win. And she has said that, look, I beat the favorite son, and now they're out to nail me in any way they can.
Yeah. Speaking of negatives, you want to talk a little bit about negative campaigning?
Sure. We've seen a whole lot of it this campaign. I got a call from Bob Harper today about this campaign mailer that just, today being Friday as we're taping this, that came out that said, who watched as tax bills went out late and cost taxpayers an additional $13 million. And of course it shows Bob Harper sitting in the...
Hopping out of a cash register.
Exactly.
And Bob Harper is who?
Bob Harper is the Porter County Commissioner who has really nothing to do with the
that.
Property
Was going
tax.
to be my next question. And what does the commissioner have to do with the the timing of the sending out of the tax bills?
Right. So
nothing.
there are a number of these mailers going out. The first, I believe, was the first one that showed 2 peas in a pod, and it had faces of Harper and President Barack Obama kind of photoshopped into the pea pod.
Harper is the incumbent Democrat facing a tough challenge from Republican Nancy Adams.
Right.
The Illinois side of the Illinois side has not been without its share of negative campaigning as well. We were talking a little bit before about the ads for Debbie Halvorson.
Right. She's the one who has running for Congress. She's a freshman congresswoman in Jerry Weller's old district.
Right.
And so she's campaigning with trying to show maturity and experience over 32-year-old opponent Adam Kinzinger. And so she's got in her campaign commercial a number of older people who are presumably on Social Security saying, Adam, young man, don't you touch my money. In that sense.
Don't leave my Social Security alone. So.
Right.
Yeah, and I think the ads, the Pat Quinn, Bill Brady ads have been extremely negative, and I've just talked to a number of people who live in Illinois, and they just can't wait for November 3rd because they're tired. They're very tired of the negative campaigning.
In Indiana, we're tired of it too because we're in the Chicago media market, so we get all those Illinois negative ads too.
Exactly.
Spared the Indiana ads, but we're left with the everything negative about Illinois candidates.
Plus the mailers. So.
Well, luckily only about a week and a half more of those ads we'll suffer through, but we'll be here next week for another political roundtable as we enter the home stretch countdown to November 2nd. So thank you again for watching. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Mark. And
thank you, Robert.
We'll see you next week.